Hi folks, so this is the next lesson in the sequence and series unit. You should have done 1.1 first. If you didn't, not a big deal. You can do this one as a standalone, just one of the examples we won't be able to do. So I'm going to run through this like you haven't seen it before. So just to point out, the arithmetic sequence, that's chapter 1.1. Geometric sequence is chapter 1.3. Arithmetic series is today, so that's 1.2. Geometric series is 1.4, and infinite is chapter 1.5. All of these can be done as standalone. You don't need to have done, you will not have needed to complete the prior lesson. Just when I'm normally teaching it, I teach it all at once, like as a unit. So I'm just gonna do my videos that way. Hopefully you've done 1.1, so to make it a little bit easier, but if you haven't, you can totally dive into this lesson just at 1.2 or anywhere else. So know that on your green sheet, your formula sheet, all your formulas are there. All right. So diving in, we are on arithmetic series. So arithmetic means to add or subtract to get to your next number in a series or sequence. So an example might be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I'm putting the ellipse to indicate, ellipse is just 3 dots. It just means continues on forever. So if it's arithmetic, we know that we add or subtract to get to the next number. So in this set of numbers, we add 2 to get to the next number. 2 plus 2 is 4, 4 plus 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10. The series, though, means that we're taking the sum. So we're taking all the terms and adding them up. So in 1.1, we've found what the value of the 20th term is. In a series, you would find the sum of all 20 together, okay? So if this was my set of numbers and I was doing a series, I'd be adding these all together to get the total, okay? So there's two different ways, two different formulas of doing this. S representing sum of whatever term, like are we doing 20 terms? How many terms are we adding together? Number of terms divide by 2, 2t1 plus n minus 1 times d. Okay, and again, this unit's all about order of operations, it's about formula manipulation, it's about getting really good at algebra. So some of that might pop off the page to you as being similar to what we did in 1.1. But again, if you didn't do 1.1, that's okay too. You can just go ahead and use the formula. So this one is T1 plus Tn. All right, so a little bit simpler over here. But the key thing is if you use option 2, you need to know the value of the last term. In this one, you don't. Okay, so depending on the information that's given, you'll have to make a choice which one you're going to use. Okay, so Sn is the sum of the terms, so we're adding them all up. N is the number of terms. Terms are just like each one of these is a term. So 2 is a term, 4 is a term, 6 is a term, 8 is a term, 10 is a term. Okay, so in this, keep sliding up and down. In this one, assuming I didn't have the ellipses, this set of numbers, I'd have 5 terms in it. So just how many you have. T1 is the value of the first term. And D is our common difference. And if you didn't do the last lesson, the common difference is what you add or subtract to get to the next one. So we said that we added 2 to each one to get to the next term. All right, so that means my common difference for this set of numbers, my common difference is the add 2, so it's a plus 2. If you're subtracting, like if you started at 10 and went down, it would be, the common difference would be a negative 2 because you're reducing by 2, so we would subtract 2. All right, so that's all that's in this one. This one, again, where Sn is the sum of the terms, n is the number of terms, T1 is the value of the first term. So like if we went back up to this one up here, the value of the first term is 2. It has a value of 2. In this set, the first term 1 has a value of 10. Value of the first term, and Tn is the value of your last term. So if I don't know what my last term is, I'd probably have to use the first option. Okay, so in example 1, male fireflies flash in a particular pattern to send warning signals or a location. If a male firefly flashes twice in the first minute, 4 times in the second minute, and 6 times in the third minute. So let's write that down. So that's 2 in the first minute, 4 in the second minute, 6 in the third minute. So term 1 is 2, term 2 is 4, term 3 is 6. Okay? I like to write it out, especially if they give it to me in words. It makes a little bit more sense to me. How many times would the firefly flash in the 30th minute? Okay, so we're finding the value of Tn. This is a sequence question. So you need to pull out your formula sheet, and we're gonna grab the sequence off there, okay? So we're gonna use that formula for this one. So in part A, move that off to the side, we're gonna have Tn equals T1 plus n minus 1 times d. This tells me what the value of the 30th minute is. In part B, it asks me what's the total number of flashes in 30 minutes. That's a series question. Not a serious, but a series question. And that just is saying the sum. I want to know in 30 minutes, how many times does that poor firefly have to flash in total in 30 minutes? This question is asking in the 30th minute, how many times is he flashing on that last minute of the series. So Tn is what we're trying to find. T1 is 2. N, we know we're looking for the 30th minute, so n is 30. The common difference, as we go, we know that we're doubling, so we're adding 2 each time. We're not doubling. That's an incorrect statement. We're adding 2 to get to the next number. So my common difference is a positive 2. So I'm going to have Tn equals 2 plus 30 minus 1 times by 2. And again, algebra really plays an important role here. Oops, if I can do my math right. Plays an important role because you have to do order of operations. So this is going to be 58, so 2 plus 58. So Tn is 60 times. So that poor little firefly in the last minute is flashing his little butt 60 times just in that last minute, just in that 30th minute. That doesn't count any of the times before, just we're looking at that last minute of, I don't know, not of his life, but of his flashing. So in part B, the question says, what would be the total number of flashes? So how many flashes in total over the duration of 30 minutes? So we're gonna use my series formula. Now here's the thing. is I just calculated what the Tn is for 30 minutes. I calculated that in part A. Had there not been a part A of this, I would have used option 1. But let's use 2 options. So let's use option 1. Let's pretend we didn't do this part. So we're going to use the option 1 formula. So that's Sn equals 30 is my n term, divided by 2. 2 times 2 plus 30 minus 1 times 2. Sn equals 15. 4 plus, I did that math over here, which was 58. So then I've got Sn equals 15 times 62. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy calculator. 15 times 62 is going to give me 930. Okay, so in total, over 30 minutes, he's flashed, the firefly, a male firefly, has flashed 930 times in 30 minutes. All right. I don't know if you guys have room. I'm just going to pop over here. I'm going to switch colors, but it doesn't seem to be making much of a difference. I'm going to do this. So I'm going to go to option 2. Ooh, that's terrible. You can't read that. I'll move to a purple pen. Option 2. Okay, so option 2 was the Sn equals n over 2 times T1 plus Tn. Now, normally I wouldn't have Tn, but I found it over here in part A, so I'm going to use it. So Sn equals 30 divided by 2. T1 was the 2, plus the Tn was from over here, 60. So we're going to have Sn equals 15 times 62, and so Sn is going to equal 930 times. So in this case, it really didn't matter which one you used because you had all the information to use either option. So both worked. So I just wanted to show you that the math works out the exact same. Okay, so in total, the poor firefly has to flash 930 times. In the 30th minute, he only did 60. But if you add them all up, minute 1 plus minute 2 plus minute 3 plus minute 4, you get 930 flashes. Okay? All right, so example number 2. All right, so these ones people don't like because there's all kinds of words. But if you break out the words, it's not that bad. People hate these. The sum of the first 2 terms in an arithmetic series, so that just means we are adding or subtracting. So term 1 plus term 2 equals 13. Okay, I don't know what these numbers are yet, but I know they add up to 13. And I know the sum of term 1 plus term 2 plus term 3 plus term 4. Oh, geez, I ruined my pretty plan. Is 46. All right. So now we have to figure out the first 6 terms and the sum of the 6 terms. Okay, so this one is a little bit difficult, but it's not terrible because we're smart people. Okay, so this one looks like I don't have enough information to answer it, but I really do, because we know that we have formulas for sums, all right? We know, I'm just sliding this one back over, we know what these equal. So let's go ahead and do some math. I'm going to use my first situation here. I'm going to call this situation A and this situation B. So in situation A, if I use the sum formula, Sn equals n over 2 times T1 plus n minus 1 times D. Okay, all right. So I'm going to do this for situation A. So we know that the sum is 13. We know that in that sum, there's only 2 terms. So my n value is 2. I don't know what my T1 is. It would be handy if I knew. And I don't know what my N is. Oh, I do know what my N is. My N is 2. But I don't know what my D is. And you're like, Scallion, that's not very helpful. And I agree it's not super helpful, but it might be as we go along. So we've got 13 equals 2T1 plus D. Not helpful at all, you're saying. This isn't working. Okay, we're going to do that exact same thing for scenario B. So we know the sum is 46. We know now that we had 4 terms, like 4 terms added up gave me the 46. So my N is 4 now. I still don't know what T1 is. Plus 4 minus 1, and I still don't know what my D is, so that's not very exciting. So 46 equals 2 times 2T1 plus 3D. Okay, so I'm going to multiply that 2 through, so I have 46 equals 4T1 plus 6D. Okay, so you're like, still, Scallion, that means nothing. But here's the thing, I have 2 equations, and the equations have 2 variables in them that are the exact same. I can rearrange this equation to equal the letter D. And why did I pick the letter D? I picked D because D is by itself. So if I minus 2T1 from both sides, you're like, that does not help anything, but it does. 13 minus 2T1 equals the letter D. So what you've just made is an equivalent statement. So you're saying the variable D has a value of this. Still, you're not seeing the connection. It's okay. We know that the letter D can be replaced with this. So if we go to the second formula where we see the letter D, we can put that in. So I'm going to take 46 equals 4T1 plus 6 times 13 minus 2T1. All of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, we have something that's useful. 46 equals 4T1 plus 78 minus 12T1. All right, so now if you notice, I have T1 and I have T1. That's the only variable I have here. So now it's a 4-step equation and I can solve it. So grade 9 is coming in handy. So I'm going to have 46 equals 78 minus 8T1. So I'm going to minus 78 from both sides. That leaves me with a negative 8T1 here. It didn't matter if you did it in the opposite direction. Both work. So that's going to leave me with a negative 32. Divide by negative 8. Divide by negative 8. T1 is left on this side. Oops, sorry. And I've got a positive 4. Okay, so now I know what the value of my T1 is. Okay, so I'm going to go back up here. Now we can just do some basic math. If you know T1 is 4, what do I have to add to 4 to get it to 13? 9. I know you're all shouting 9 at the video. So then what's my common difference? To get from 4 to 9, it's 5. So let's check. So this would be 4, this would be 9. 9 plus 5 is 14, 19. And if I add those up in my handy dandy calculator, 4 plus 9 plus 14 plus 19. Do I get 46? I do. So that's pretty exciting. So it worked, so I know that's my plan. So it says determine the first 6 terms in the series. Well, that's easy enough to do. 4, 9, 14, 19. Add 5 to that, so that's going to give me 24. Add 5 to that, that's going to give me 29. Okay, so I did that. Check. Those are my first 6 terms. Now it wants me to sum the 6 terms. You can do it one of 2 ways. You can punch this into your, you can punch this into your calculator if you want. That's not a problem, but you're going to have to write it as an equation. 4 plus 9 plus 14 plus 19 plus 24 plus 29 equals, and then whatever you get there. I'm going to use the formula just because, one, I like the formula, and I think the more we practice it, the better it's going to be. But the good thing is, sorry, I keep moving my page for you guys, probably getting nauseous. I know T1 and I know Tn. T1 and Tn. So I can use that option 2 formula that's a little bit less complicated. So I have 6 terms divided by 3, and T1 is 4 plus Tn is 29. So I'm going to have Sn equals 2 plus 33, and Sn equals 66. And I bet you if you added all those together and wrote it out as an equation, it would probably take you the exact same amount of time. So that is your lesson for arithmetic series. Remember, the word series means to sum. So I think the trick with this this unit is making sure, especially when you get to the test, that you know what the question's asking you to do. It's nice and easy when they're broken down into sections. But if you have any questions, shoot me an email, and hopefully we'll see you soon.